Welcome. This is a wrap-up of the Monday, January 24th, 2022 City Council meeting. We started the evening with a closed meeting about the sale of real property that the city owns, and because it's a closed meeting, we obviously can't discuss that, but I'm sure that you'll hear more about that in the very near future. Then we moved into, as soon as that was done, we moved into a council work session. We had one item on the agenda tonight, and that was to discuss the joint powers agreement to form the Aiken-Itasca-Mille Lacs Drug Task Force. So this is something that we've asked our police department over the past year or two to look into. We belonged to one in the past, and by joining this 3-county drug task force, we're able to get state grant money, and the amount for the next 2 years is $328,000. The police department gave us stats of drug use and how that's affected in arrest and phone calls, but it's more than that. It's calls from child service. It's things that affect our local hospitals and schools, and so we know that the state grant won't end drug use in Itasca County, but to the extent that it can help defer some of these negative things that happen as the result of drug use, we think it's a good thing to cooperate with our neighboring counties and to get some additional money to fight, and some equipment as well to fight the drug use in Itasca County. And so the county will be voting on this if they haven't already, and so the city, the county, and other cities and counties in the 3-county region will be joining that. Next, we had the council meeting. We had to update council reports from a number of council members, including Councilmember Conley, who is the city rep, council rep on the IRA Civic Center expansion repair committee. There are 18 members in the community, and they haven't met for many, many months, maybe even a year. But they met last week, and they received updated project costs and a 3D walkthrough of the facility as it would be changed. And the committee then is now looking at how they feel those project costs look and what they would add or subtract from the project. And eventually that will come back to the city council for a vote. But we're glad that we have 18 members of the community who are looking at that from all walks of life in the community, both hockey and figure skating and high school participation, but that's just a minority of the committee. There's many business people and other city and area members on that committee. She also updated us on, some of you might see this if you follow the GRETA meetings, but at our last GRETA meeting, the Economic Development Authority, a 64-unit hotel was approved in the old Kmart lot, the plotting for that. I believe it's a My Hotel, which is a new chain that you see. In fact, I believe there's one that just came up in Duluth. And that GRETA is also looking at updating the downtown master plan. As things are happening in our downtown, that hasn't been looked at for many, many years, and they are going to take a look at the update of that master plan for our downtown area. A number of items on our regular agenda that might be interesting to people. One is we considered a resolution requesting amendments to the local sales and use tax authorization. When we committed to rebuilding the roof, the failing roof and the failing plumbing and refrigeration plant, I should say, we did it with a number in mind of the best estimate of cost at the time that project was put forward. And the state approved us up to just under $6 million to ask for a local sales tax of 0.5% until $6 million is paid off. Since that time, there's an increase in documented cost that we're going to have to eat, and so because of the cost of lumber and so forth, the cost of construction going up. And so we are going to ask the state to increase the amount that we can ask the public to do on that. Of course, it would have to go to a vote. The public can decide if they want to have a sales tax or not. If they don't, it will be paid for by property taxes. But we certainly want to increase the amount so it wouldn't be a sales tax and a property tax if the public did vote for, if residents did vote for a sales tax authorization. We also adopted a resolution that we talked about at a very recent work session, and that was to declare a climate emergency in the city. This is something that cities around the state are doing. And in general, we have agreed to do 3 things, 2 of which we're already doing. Well, actually, all 3 we're already doing. One of those is to continue our autonomous vehicle project that we've already moved forward with and should be operational by this fall. We're going to share our solar garden project with other cities around the state so they can see what we did and how it benefit the community and climate change. And finally, to complete and implement an action plan. So that's looking at things the city can do and implement in the future to help when we can, to help in small areas that we're able to do so. It doesn't commit us to any policy positions or any future dollars. It's just the action plan of what we would like to do. And of course, if any of those involve money or policy positions, we would, this or future councils would have to do that at that time. So a number of our community members were here to support that today, and that did pass. And so the next item was a public hearing. There were a number of items dealing with that public hearing, and that was to adopt a resolution to order the 21st Street Southwest extension. That would for those that aren't aware, it's kind of the road that goes from the bottom of the hill towards Target up to St. Joe's, and to punch that through and extend that to the Horseshoe Lake Road. And so this project began in 2002. The plans for it were put through then. It was a project that was voted on or part of the CIP capital investment projects in 2003, and for the past 20 years has not moved forward for various reasons, including financial reasons. So we heard from the public tonight, a number of members from St. Joe's who were concerned about the, and rightfully concerned about the assessments that will come along with that project. I will mention that the project will have no general obligation bonding, so there'll be no cost to the city as large. We've received grants for that, and we are going to use Minnesota street funds that we collect each year. We've been building them up, and we're going to take an advance on that to help pay for that road. So there's no overall cost to the residents of the city other than assessments to nearby properties, the great majority of that being St. Joseph's. So we had a public hearing to hear about that. After that, we considered approving, and the council voted to approve that. We approved the hiring of the design and construction engineering services, approved a resolution requesting the advance from the state for the $1.27 million we're going to use of theirs. So we're going to ask for a couple years dollar amounts ahead of time. And then, interestingly enough, we had to authorize quotes for tree clearing services immediately. That part of this project needs to be done by the end of February or early March. And so we awarded the quote that we received for the tree clearing services, and that's due to a federal ruling by the Department of Forestry or Fisheries, I can't remember the exact agency, that deals with long-eared bats, that we have to, long-eared bats are an endangered species, and they set up places to roost by a certain point in the year, and so we have to have the trees down so they don't decide to roost there, and then we cut them down afterwards. So we had to get that done this evening so that we could move forward with that. We also, as part of the overall motions with this, directed city staff to work closely. They already have been, but to continue to work with St. Joseph's Parish to come up with a plan on how we can defer or even eliminate assessments based on their ability to provide housing on their property, as we have a housing crisis within the city. So we are going to ask our staff to continue their discussions and put off the assessment decisions until such time that the parish and the city can come to an agreement of how to make the assessments a reasonable amount or even eliminated. With that, we adjourn. We meet again on February 14th, 2022. I think that's Valentine's Day. So everybody stay warm. It's supposed to get very cold tonight on January 24th. So hope everybody stays warm tonight in the next few days, and then it looks like a warm-up's coming. So stay warm, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.